Welcome to another exciting episode of the Ride Boundless podcast, brought to you by our sponsor, Ride Clean, the premium provider of environmentally friendly motorcycle cleaning products. Today, we have a very special guest, Yoannes, aka Yo. He's a motorcycle enthusiast, real estate investor, and a mindset mentor who has created wealth through multifamily investments, and he's going to teach us about it and talk about it. In this episode, we'll be discussing Yo's unique journey towards success and how his love for motorcycles played a role in shaping his entrepreneur mindset. That's why he has so many motorcycles. We'll also dive into the world of real estate investment and discuss how anyone can develop the millionaire mindset necessary to achieve their financial goals, which he also teaches. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the Ride Boundless podcast, sponsored by Ride Clean. Check them out at rideclean.co. Use promo code RBPodcast for 25% off, free shipping, and some extras as we explore this intersection between motorcycles, culture, and financial success with Yoannes. Yo, in the house.
Yeah.
Hey, man, how was that traffic, brother?
Man, it was so wonderful. I got to be on the gas and the brake for about an hour and a half. It sucked.
Holy shit, man. Where'd you come from?
Newport Beach. Actually,
Beach.
Irvine.
Irvine?
Yeah.
And the traffic was just fucking. You could adjust the mic face you a little bit if you want.
I think it's a little bit lower.
Yeah.
There we go.
Just, yeah. Let's see.
There we go.
Even easier, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that fucking drive is crazy. This is it's like one of those dad jokes, but you know why why they call it the 405?
Why?
Because you're on it for 4 or 5 hours. Oh wait.
That's funny guy.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the what is it? The Nazi God, it's Adolf Hitler dealing with they shut down the 405 for a long time, like it was like 6 weeks. And there was a name for it. I forget. But anyway, they shut down the freeway. So there's this whole skit with Hitler, and he's like in German going, dang, 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 dang. And the whole time he's talking about, the translation is, someone asked him, he's like, hey, do you have to pick up your wife at the airport? And he's like, yeah, I got to go to LAX, right?
And he's like,
And he's like, but the 405 is closed from the 405 is closed from fucking Sunset all the way down to the 10 freeway. You're going to have to take the service streets. And he's like, what? And he's cursing it, but it's fucking Hitler, right? It's so funny.
It's a remake. It's like an original clip, and they redid it.
That's right. They
Yeah,
just put the
because I've seen
subtitles in
a
it.
few of those like that, but yeah, and I'm like, I haven't seen the 405 one, but that sounds about right.
Yeah. I mean, it's part of living in Southern California, man. Traffic, right? You just got to deal with it. Key is have a car that you're cool to ride in.
Or a motorcycle.
Or a motorcycle. Even better. But for motorcycles, I think, fuck the traffic. I know you like the traffic, but I like riding on the beach. I like the mountains. I like it when there's a little bit of challenge. I don't want it to be too soft and too easy. But for me, I'd rather ride either south or, down by going to San Diego, all that pathway, Inland Empire, and or the LA mountains, right?
Yeah.
And we're fucking blessed to have that shit. Big Bear. Want to mash up there real quick in the summertime? Fuck yeah. That's one of the best rides ever, actually.
Yeah, I love that ride.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I would say the last 3 years I've been doing that like every other weekend during the summer.
Oh yeah, you got to do it, man. And it's a dope ride, and it's a challenging ride too. I mean, you got to pay attention, and you got to.
But it's quick. People think it's so much further than what it actually is.
That's
like,
right.
People are like, "Why you go to Big Bear?" Like I've gone times like I'll leave here and I'll be there in an hour and a half. I'll be, the bike will be parked and I'll be ordering coffee or having a sandwich by then. It's a quick little ride.
Especially on the weekend, there's nobody in the morning.
Yeah,
right. That's when you go. Typically, get up and hit
Yeah.
it, or midday.
Yeah,
right. It's an easy ride. So yeah, I just feel blessed. The best part about Southern California is motorcycles. The worst part to me is traffic, but the best part is motorcycles.
I've been trying to analyze why I like riding through traffic so much, and I think one of the reasons is nobody can do anything. Like a cop can't pull me over. There's no way he'll catch up to me. if there's a dickhead or something that's like, trying to cut me off, I could just go around the other side, flip them off. Like nobody can do anything. Like I feel so fucking like, huh? Now I feel invincible. I really do.
I like that.
Where like in the open road, I'm like, oh fuck, man. If a cop sees me, I'm getting pulled over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If there's a piece of shit, like it's going to be an uncomfortable chase. Like there's just, I feel that for me, it's more danger at higher speeds. It's more dangerous and higher risk of tickets versus in traffic. It's zero risk of ticket, and it's zero risk that anybody's going to get in my way. And I don't know if you've heard me say this in other episodes, but I've been saying this lately a lot. For the first time in my life, I feel safer on a motorcycle in traffic than in a car.
Damn.
All right?
It's a hell of a statement.
It's a hell of a statement. And here's the reason for that.
It's a hell of a statement.
The reason for that is when you're stuck in traffic in a car, you're stuck with the cars around you.
Oh, yeah.
And if anybody fucking acts out or if anybody wants to like lose their shit, you can't do nothing. If there's an earthquake or an emergency, you can't do nothing. If the cops block off the road, you can't do nothing. You're trapped with fucking people. End of story.
Yeah.
With a bike, it's like, all right, splitting lane. Oh, asshole, go around this way. Oh, another asshole split, like go straight across, just, I'm going to get out of here. Oh, fucking traffic or cop, you can avoid so much more. And again, I've said this statement and I've been called out on it. And just to clarify, with my experience, with 20 years of riding in traffic, that's why I'm saying it. I have gotten to that point.
Listen, I think everyone feels that way. When you're in traffic, you'd much rather be in a motorcycle than a car, without a doubt. I mean, it is the most optimal way of getting from point A to point B. Especially if the weather's nice. But, I tell you, I've lived in LA since 95. I've seen a lot of people. I used to drive from Long Beach to Santa Monica every day. Oh, it was miserable. Anyways, man, I just seen a lot of accidents. And it's always during that time, traffic, peak hours, lots of cars. I prefer to do the track. And because of that, because I like...
Hold on one second. And we're back, man. How fucking ridiculous, Amazon. I'm going to call Jeff Bezos up on this motherfucker and be like, yo, what's your dude knocking on my door for? We're fucking talking about traffic, LA.
Riding. Just so many people I've seen go down in traffic and cars. The great thing about the track is you can really push the bike to its fucking full limits. You're not worried about cars and, oncoming traffic. A good friend of mine just got into, it's been a year now, and he crashed his bike and got ran over by a car. The bike crash was less damaging to him and his bike than the car that ran over him. And,
wow.
So I just say be careful because cars are terrible obstacles. They fucking suck, right? People aren't paying attention. And my Ducati is pushing, 235 horsepower, tons of fucking torque. That thing's a monster. It has no business being on the freeway here, like in traffic. That's not where it's meant to be. Right.
Yeah.
I think it's meant to fucking push it and hit it. And bro, I'm telling you, everybody who ever takes their bike on the track, right? There's always this kind of like, I don't know if the track's for me. I'm telling you this. Anybody who's on the track will tell you the same thing. Once you get on the track with the bike, it doesn't matter what bike you have. You're like, oh shit, this is where I need to be all the time. This is fucking badass, right? Yeah. I can push it. I can go fast. How am I going to navigate this corner? Other people out there are competitive with you and you guys are fucking hitting corners together, trying to, get through it as quickly as possible. And then, getting off the track and getting ready for the next session and figuring out what you did wrong and just hitting it and hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. Nothing feels better to me than that. So to ride the way I want to ride, which is full throttle, open, pushing the bike to its limits, understanding how to maneuver it in corner stuff, that's really what the track is for. The Indian that I have now, the Chief Dark Horse, that's my cruiser. And I still like to mash on that thing. So for me, open for that bike, it's great to just go straight. And I'm on the PCH all the time, mashing, or in some long canyon roads or some shit. But that Saturday morning, no cars around. I like to go fast, so if there's no cars around, that's the main part of the.
Do you go out there with a trailer and camp out and do the whole?
Oh yeah, totally, man. I got an RV. I got a toy hauler, which is awesome. That thing's fucking great. 20 feet. Has a fuel station. I can sleep 3. Solar. Thing's badass. I paid $20,000. It's the best thing ever. So now I can just go. I leave my V4 and my Supermoto in the toy hauler, and I have a Kendon trailer in my garage, and I leave the Indian in the garage and the Kendon trailer. So if I need to to go to the track. Everything's there. It's ready to go. I just go to where I store it, hook it up, bring some beers, whatever food I'm going to eat, right? And then cook some steaks out there. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
But the fuel station is key because, I'll be up there for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Burning through fuel.
Yeah, that's a key thing.
Yeah.
I like I was telling you before we even started, I just got my racing license. I did it with the BMW. I was fucking destroying the track. The only person that I couldn't keep up with was the instructor. Ooh. Mookie. Do you know Mookie?
Yes, I did know.
Okay,
Mookie.
yeah. So I did my course with Mookie. He's been on the podcast. So he was killing it. But I did it on a fucking my GSA.
Sweet.
I did it on the BMW.
Yeah.
But I was killing it, and every time I got off the track, there was
biking corner.
What's that? That biking fucking corner.
Yeah.
But I had some people walk up to me like, they were from a state, and they're like, ooh wee, I've never seen anybody ride a BMW that hard like that. Nice. And I was like, oh shit, thanks, man. Nice. It was a good compliment, man.
Sweet.
They're like, I've never seen an adventure bike on a track.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit.
Interesting.
But anyways, I did that, and I was talking to Mookie, and I gotta follow up with Mookie, as a matter of fact. And we were talking about maybe getting rid of a bike and getting that Sprinter van, because I was looking at one of those Sprinter vans, and then get a racing bike. I was gonna customize the Harley to do the Harley racing, but dude, Harleys crash. Expensive. Yeah, they crash really bad.
Yeah.
And that much work, I was like, I would have to spend another $30,000-$40,000 just on my bike to make it raceable, which is crazy. And then if it fucking crashes, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
So everybody's like, go the 600 route or the 1000. That's easy to get into. It's fun, easier compared to the Harley.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Well, those bikes are made for that sort of riding. But, like anything, the 600 Yamaha, any sport bike right now is a fucking great sport bike. The bar has changed. In the last 5 years, sport bikes have just gone through the roof in terms of the technology that it has, and braking power and acceleration and horsepower and torque and braking graphics and braking and shit, and that's what it's about.
Yeah.
That's what it's about, man. Those bikes are designed to fucking ridiculous stopping power, ridiculous acceleration. So they're just funner to ride out there. But those Harleys are badass too. It's just a lot of work, like you said, to improve a bike like that. Lift the bags. There's just a lot of work to get that bike moving.
You're just going to spend, $70,000-$80,000 if you think about it.
Yeah.
If you buy a new bike, and then you got to change the motor and raise the suspension and change the exhaust and do this and upgrade the calipers and rotors and brakes.
It's a complete build.
It's a complete build. So a regular, I'm over $40,000 on a regular build of just like, okay, I did bars and the basic stuff. Where how much is the most expensive Ducati racing bike? 40 grand?
No, 130,000.
130,000? Wow, that's like
yeah. Their Superleggera is 130. My V4 new was with the Acroplovic exhaust was 38, and then I put carbon fiber wheels and I did a bunch of shit. I spent probably $12,000, and then
on top of the 40 on top of the 38,
right? Then I spent a bunch on rims and carbon and doing a bunch of shit. Then I went the other direction and I made a dedicated track bike, and that was a $7,000 conversion, right? So. Right. If you start trying to transform a bike, it's expensive, and right now you can buy sports bikes that are ready to go, right? For $7,000-$8,000 that are ready to go, perfect for the track, if that's what you want to do. But I would highly suggest doing that. If you're thinking about getting a van, fuck yes. My Tahoe has cross rails. I've got a canopy set up, I've got a fuel cargo carrier, so I can throw a bunch of shit up there. And I have a Kindon trailer. Then I got a toy hauler. To really hit the track, it takes fucking dedication, But if you, and that's what you need is a tool like that to get you there, be able to sleep, eat, change, power up your vehicle, get the fucking tire warmers going.
So let me pick your brain on this real quick, because you've been doing it. If hypothetically I pick up one of these Sprinter vans, obviously it's like, well, fuck, do I get it all like custom and with the sleeping bed and the fucking bathroom and the fucking everything, or do I just do it simple and get like a bed that goes up and down where I could just put in a motorcycle, like kind of minimalistic in the middle, or like go full throttle?
So I think people who typically get minivans like that, it depends on who you're going with and what your intent is. So why get a Sprinter van is because you just want to go by yourself. You want to make it as super convenient as possible to go by yourself. Me, I have my lady who wants to come, right? It's great to have her there. She helps out with setting up and getting food and pictures and stuff. So I need more than that. Yeah. But if you're going to do the Sprinter brand route, it's really about just getting up there and being super efficient. And the luxury aspect isn't really there. You can, but it's really expensive.
There's a different thing. And here's what I'm trying to do. Number one, I have a podcast called the Ride Boundless podcast. Mm-hmm. And what better way to have the Ride Boundless experience than to have a van that can ride boundless?
Oh, yeah, you know yeah, totally.
So one is like to do record episodes in the van. That's number one. Number two, I have a motorcycle cleaning product called Ride Clean. Yep. This episode's brought to you by Ride Clean. And it's an all-purpose cleaner. And before the pandemic, like my bread and butter was that. I was going to conventions, SEMA events, IMS, everywhere, and I was selling out like crazy.
Oh,
like,
good.
I was fucking selling out. So when the pandemic hit, I took a hit, like a lot of people did. Now I'm more focused on online sales. So the point of the van is to do podcasts, at least do like some cross country, maybe a month or two out of the year, race motorcycles, and then also use it to take product to, shows and continue doing that and sell bottles of Ride Clean.
Yep.
So it's not, yeah. And then obviously I have my little one, that, hey, Pops, I want to go, check it out. All right, let's go.
Yeah. No, then I think that's great. I mean, it's utilitarian, it sounds like. And, if you don't need the bed, I wouldn't put it in there. A lot of people I know who go to the track, they just pop up a tent, or they have something they put up on the on the top and make a tent there.
Yeah.
But the inside conversion part is really expensive, and people charge a lot, and it's just a big thing. But if you just keep it utilitarian, put some utility racks in there, some stuff like that, and you can even get a Dodge, van. They're doing these great diesel engine ones now. Dodge and Mercedes, they're all doing V6 diesels, and those things kick ass, right? And they get great gas mileage in there. Yeah, so I wouldn't say I'd keep it simple. For me, like I said, my lady goes with me. We are planning to have a family, and it's going to be, we do other things like go to the beach and shit like that, so it's a little bit different. But I tell you, I see guys who do that all the time, but they're spending so much money. The all-in on doing a van conversion with a decent van is like $60,000, right?
Oh, dude, that's if you're lucky.
Yeah, I mean,
right now with all the markups, it's
exactly
ridiculous. $60,000 on top of the price of the van.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So my toy hauler was $20,000, right? $23,000 all in, but interest and everything, and I get so much out of it, but I don't need to. But I pay to store it, right? So it costs me $200. Where the van, you don't need to do that, right? Just park it in front of wherever if you have a place to park it. So I think it just depends. But if you're going to use it beyond the track, yeah, keep it utilitarian, man. Those things are so great. You can do whatever. I used to have one, and we just throw the beach stuff in there. You just throw shit in. We're going to the beach, throw it all in. We're going to golf, all right, throw it in.
Yeah, no,
right?
Straight out.
And a lot of people rent those things out on Turo too, but it doesn't sound like that would work for you. But we see a lot of. I have a buddy who does his big van on Turo and does well with that. But his is.
Does he rent it as a cargo van, or he rents it out as a
not a cargo? Well, not for doing carbon, but so he rents it out to people who want to do Uber. He rents it out to or drive.
So it's a passenger van.
It's a passenger van. Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant to say, passenger. And but then he pulls all the seats out and has his shelves and shit that he can put in and does his due. So you can that I think is a better conversion in my mind, where if you can monetize it more doing other things. But again, you want to go out and do things with people and engage your audience.
Yeah, and then
you probably wouldn't do that.
There's the other Mercedes, which it might be this one that you're talking about, your buddy has, where it has the multiple seats and the TV screens and stuff like that.
Yes.
And I was thinking about getting one of those because those, you're right, you can rent them out and people do Vegas runs. You know? And it's like, hey, I'll rent your van out for like $2,000. I got a party of 6, 7. And
that's
it's like, all right, well, I could do that in the meantime, and that'd be kind of cool because they all lay down and make a bed. Does his do the same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's really nice, actually. Yeah.
But you can't tow a bike.
Yeah. It doesn't have that sort of deal in it, which sucks. So and so you have to do that conversion to get your bike inside and do all that. It's a lot. But I don't know, man. It's an expensive endeavor, I'll say that. You know what I mean? Like it's just so much energy and effort where, but if you need to go out and engage your fans, and that's a different thing, right? Engage your audience, that's a different different use case than what I'm using it for.
Well, I got a quick question. So just to clarify, when you go to these track days, you're going to track days. You're not racing.
I'm not racing. No. I go to open session. My favorite one to go to. So there's 4 tracks here that are pretty awesome. You know this?
Chuckwalla, Willow Springs.
That's right. Bud and Willow.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 main ones, right? Bud and Willow's in Bakersfield.
Laguna Seca.
Yeah, Laguna Seca, which I do twice a year. It's a fucking awesome track. That is a fucking badass track there.
I've done that track.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Ducati does this thing every year. I tell everyone about it, and it's so funny. I tell people about stuff, right? And there are people who are in the track and loop. They go to the track. They spend $250, to get in. There's different formats and whatnot. But I go to this thing that Ducati puts on every year. It's called Ducati Revs. It's at Laguna Seca, and Ducati rents the whole venue out only for Ducatis, invitation only through the dealer, and it's at the end of the Moto America race, the season, which ends at Laguna Seca every year. So right at the beginning of July, right after 4th of July. And all the Ducati riders who are in Moto America, whether it's in the super sport class or the leader class, there are instructors, right?
Yeah.
And really they don't instruct us. They just they do a little classroom session. They're like, yeah, this is what we're going to go out there and do, blah, blah, blah. And then you go out there and they show you different parts of the track. But after like the second or third session, they're just fucking going off there. They stop teaching you. They're like, oh yeah, and they start racing each other.
Right.
But it's still cool to ride on that fucking track with these pros. And there's a lot of insight that you can gain from them. But so Ducati rents the whole fucking thing, and we got the whole place out. And 70% of the people who come there who have a big bike or a Ducati sport bike, they haven't really been to a track day. They're not true. They don't do the track a lot. So they get burnt out usually by midday. So by the end of the day, after 1 o'clock, usually who's there are the people who really enjoy track, right? And understand how special it is to be on that track in summer in, Laguna Seca when the weather's perfect. And so it winds up just being me and my 8 buddies who go every single year, and we're all the same Ducati club, and we just are fucking on this track, and we're A, B, and C sessions for like 6 hours, right? So from 1 o'clock to like 6 o'clock. And by ourselves, just hitting it. No rev limiter. I mean, no. Usually they restrict sound there, right? They only let you have so much. Your dBs can only be so much, and they don't care about that for us. So we're out there on this pro track hitting it every single. So it's $500. Ducati brings you lunch. There's a big tent, ride demos, but it's fucking amazing. And I tell everybody about it. In the track world, people are like, "Oh, it's $500. It's a lot of money." And then I'm like, you just gotta do it. And then they do it, and they're like, holy shit, that was the most fucking amazing thing ever, yeah. Right? Like, oh my God.
I got a private track.
A private pro track, right? And also we're going to go do the same thing. Ducati's doing the same thing at Coda in March. So, take the toy hauler, go out there, camp for the weekend, be behind Moto America. And then we got track sessions the next day for the next 3 days. That's going to be fucking cool. And it's the same thing at Laguna Seca. They do the Moto America there. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Mondays is private track day, and it's just I feel so special. So I'm really blessed to do that.
Yeah, that's a hell of an experience.
It's so badass, man. It's just so great. I love my motorcycle. The Ducati is my bike. I love that thing over all others. Everything else is. I love all my bikes, but the Ducati is special. It's a unique place in my fucking heart. I would go crazy if I couldn't ride that bike. It's just so much power, so much torque, so much technology. It's fast as fuck. It corners. It's just so fucking awesome. The feeling of acceleration on that bike, right? And then I had this GoPro video, and I had it plugged into my mic at Laguna Seca. And I didn't mean to have it plugged into my mic, but I had it recording the video and the audio. And the whole time, it's like, yeah! Oh, shit! Woo! Yeah, motherfucker! Yeah! Right? That's just the whole time. The whole fucking 10 minutes of that shit, right?
You should publish it, man.
Yes.
People love that.
Because that's what it's at, right? And that's where it's at, dog. It's at. When the people start hitting it and you're going, it's awesome. But
man, how do you feel like that's expensive ass hobby, man?
Yes.
Because my idea is if I start going into the track, I want to do a couple races. I don't know if I'd be good or bad, but I think I have the technical aspects of it. But one of the main reasons I would want to race is because I want to put Ride Clean out there and Ride Boundless out there. and kind of brand.
You can sponsor me, dude.
What's that?
That's what you do. Probably just sponsor me.
Yeah. Well, I gotta get in
free
there
branding.
too, man.
Free branding. Oh, okay, right. I actually do want to ride. Okay, yes.
Yeah, no, and I want to ride, but that's the whole idea. But I see people that are just going on the weekend to track dates, and they're bringing out the toy haulers, they're bringing out their bikes, they're paying the $500, but how many tires are you going through? How much gas are you going through? How many services do you got to go through? It becomes expensive.
It's definitely costly.
Yeah,
it's definitely some cash flow. It does consume dollars, this sport, and but it's definitely worth it. So one of the things I want to talk about with you today, and just generally speaking, and why I want to come on your podcast is just it relates to what the question that you're asking, which is, how do you get to live and build the life that you want to live? For me, riding motorcycles is everything. Clearly, you can see I love the track. If I could spend every weekend out there, I would. But unfortunately, I gotta there's other stuff I have to do. But if I could be out there racing all the time, I would. That's actually the ultimate goal. Is I just want to ride my motorcycle on the track every weekend, all the time. Supermoto track, big track, ride my bike. So, but how do you design a life where you can do that and afford these things? And what I've noticed one of the reasons why I want to talk with you is I noticed in our community, which is a motorcycle community, right? There's a lot of people. I see a lot of these amazing guys like you who are leaders, who are great riders. People rally around them because they're awesome, right? But they're struggling to figure out how to, build wealth, right? And not being rich, not making a lot of money, but build wealth, right? And it makes me sad to see people who have such great leadership qualities and brotherhood, loyal, all the great things that when you ride with people, you have to have, right? Camaraderie. You got to believe, one of the great things about my Ducati crew is we ride maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 deep sometimes, right? And sometimes we're even bigger. And we'll get guys who haven't ridden that much before, but they want to be out there. They want to be riding with people. And we make sure that they don't, people get flat tires, they have issues, battery's dead, right? We wait, we help, we provide a community where we can support each other. Oil leaks, fucking shit happens, right? So I love that. And there's just great, it shows leadership when I see that sort of, everyone I ride with is a leader, and everyone asks me the same question. Hey man, how do you fucking afford all these damn bikes and go to the track all the fucking weekend? Because tracks are expensive. And I tell them, man, it's like, hey, I changed the way that I think. I started thinking differently a long time ago. This is what you're seeing now in my life, which is, a lot of money in motorcycles. I travel around the world. I do great things. My life is I'm financially independent.
Yeah. And
that's a wonderful place to be at. And what I realize in this journey is that a lot of people don't have the knowledge and the tools to be able to craft a life like this. They think that, getting a great job, going that path, right? This career is the way to create wealth. And wealth to me is money, but it's also time. It's also freedom to do things that you want to do. That's wealth, right? It's not just
money in the account.
Money in the account. It's freedom. And to get to that, right? If you look at the world right now, anybody who's wealthy, meaning that they have financial independence, financial freedom, they're doing it from not from a place of working for somebody. Let's just say that. And the reason why is these people all have a different mindset and a mentality. They understand how money works, right? They understand that paying for anything post-tax, right? Like you get a paycheck and you got all this taxes taken out of it, right? That's the worst way to buy any sort of asset, especially one that is supposed to be making you money. And having a tax strategy, things like that, they don't know, right? I think in our society, what we've kind of come to is this mindset of everything should be easy and we follow what's in front of us as opposed to really getting some financial intelligence. And I think that's what's lacking. So I mean, all these great guys, I'm like, God, dude, if you just had the tools, the knowledge, and the mindset, which you already have clearly as a leader, you could be doing so many great, all the things that they tell me they want to do. right? And it's, I want to do this, I want to do that. Okay, why aren't you doing it? Well, because of X, Y, I don't have the money, I don't have this, blah, blah, blah. The time, right? And you have to craft that. It takes time. You need to build it. And part of that is being financially literate. And earlier offline, we were talking about, this is a do-it-yourself kind of world now, and everyone's trying to start to figure out how to make money and how to, you were talking about I put my Tahoe on Turo. It's fucking great. It pays for itself. Actually,
shared economy.
It's a shared economy. That was the right terminology. And I like that, and that's a great way of thinking, but I really want people to start really thinking differently about, how to really create wealth. All of my banks, my house. So what does financially independent mean? Financially independent means I have income every single month that I don't have to work for. It's a business that generates a certain amount of revenue, and I don't need to think about it. It's just coming in, right? And it's everything that I buy is pre-tax, meaning I buy it with pre-tax money, and I use it as a write-off, right? A deduction. Most people don't really pay their attention to their taxes, but taxes is the biggest expense you'll ever have in your entire life. Your housing is not more expensive than your taxes. Your taxes are going to be your biggest expense throughout life if you plan to create any sort of wealth. And our financial system is really geared, even our tax system, right, is geared for, people like me who understand how to use it and use it to our benefit to grow, to generate revenue for our economy. And I pay very little taxes. And so every year I generate lots of money. It pays for all my little toys. And I don't pay taxes, or I pay very little taxes. And it was, wow, fucking Yoannes, how the fuck you do that shit? Like, what the fuck? And it was a mindset shift. And it was about getting smart about money, how it works, and capital, and how people generate wealth. Here's a startling fact. You might have heard me say this before, but every year in the United States, 400,000 Americans become millionaires. Every year, brand new millionaires.
400,000?
400,000, right? According to the Fed and the surveys that they take. And of those 400,000 Americans every year for the past 15 years, which is, by the way, twice as much as the next 4 countries combined, these new millionaires come from, 80% of them come from low-income families. Only 3% of these people have inherited their money, right? And most of them are self-made millionaires. And what's fascinating about that is what it tells you is that these people think differently than you and I. They think differently than most people. And they have a different mindset. They're committed. They're not worried about their external circumstances, right? Where they came from, what neighborhood they live at, what school they went to. They're not focused on that. They're focused on what they can control in their internal circumstances, which is their commitment to whatever they want to get to. And that I see is the big problem just with a lot of my friends is they don't have this commitment to their goal or their dream. For me, it's always been, I wanted to be, when I discovered apartments 20 years ago and I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? Why did I not know about this? What? He paid for that boat? How? What are you talking about? What? No, nah, you're fucking bullshitting me. And you're paying taxes? What? Holy shit. Once I learned the money game, life changed. And that's a really important thing, is being financially literate. And taxes are a big part of that. And so what I try to talk to people about is like this commitment to achieving whatever they want to achieve. And I use that analogy about millionaires because I think millionaires think differently. They have to. Most come out of either a place of necessity and, they have to do it, right? There's no choice. They're required to do it. Actually, most people who inherit their money or their parents give money or whatever, they tend to not appreciate or understand the value of it and burn through it. But the people who are wealthy, right, they do it out of necessity. And our minds are geared for, safety, not success, right? It's our brains are designed to be cautious and protect us and make sure we don't get into these, which is exactly the opposite way that you need to think.
Right.
Yeah. So one of the
our brain. I've said this statement before. Our brain is our worst enemy.
That's right. Exactly. And so I always want to talk to people about that. I've always, and so many of my friends who I see, I'm like, God, you're so smart. And like, if you could just figure out how to invest in yourself and get this information, you could really achieve whatever you want to achieve. And it really starts with mindset, right? This commitment to achieving your goal. And I think the people who are committed to wealth achievement, they're a great example to their mindset can be used to model achieving any goal in life, because it's very hard to do. But we're in a country where we have all this opportunity, and it's just amazing. And so I'm always trying to talk to people about that. So it was interesting you asked me that question. Sorry to ramble.
No. It's a valid point. I want to add that the two things that you just said, one that people are not well trained in is money.
That's right.
And the other one is credit. People don't learn about credit. People don't learn about keeping their credit, running their credit, keeping your balances, how to get your score increased. Like those are the two things that they don't even teach in the school systems.
That's right.
And most people don't even know where to learn this from. It's very challenging. But that's the first thing that pops up as soon as you said that. I was like, yeah, and credit.
Well, I think people who are really successful, they think about where you're right. The lack of knowledge is big there. But the people who are successful, right, they figure out what they need to know. They go out and they search for that data. And one of the best ways of doing that is to, right now we live in an age where you can get anything, any bit of information. You can school yourself relatively quickly on a lot of things from YouTube, right? Or just Google or just the internet generally, right? YouTube is one of the most sought after platforms because you can learn so much. So it's this mindset of, okay, what do I need to do to learn this stuff? And I think unfortunately people are a little preoccupied with other things. But
distracted.
Distraction, that's right. And, we got technology and all this other shit. So, but yeah, man, I pay for my shit through my stuff, through passive income.
Did you say?
You heard me, motherfucker.
God damn it, man. No fucking cussing.
Yeah. So my wife and I, we have a private real estate investment firm called Multifamily Investment Partners. It's a syndication, which means that we partner other people's money together with our money to go out and buy some of the best properties, which right now is apartment buildings.
Right.
And we've been doing that for 2 years. We've got a little bit over 1,000 units today that we've accumulated, and it's been transformational for our life, where I've been able to quit my job. I had a great paying job.
Talk about great timing, huh?
Yeah, amazing timing. But that's part of it, is understanding economic cycles and what sort of things to do in.
But is that a real thing?
Yes, it is.
But is it a fucking real thing? Like, really? Like, nobody can predict COVID, and nobody could have predicted this cycle was going to happen during this time. There's obviously people that were doing it, and there's people that profited and took advantage of it because they were in it at the right time, hence. But there's no fucking study available to be like, well, let's go back to the last COVID outbreak and when the world shut down. Let's see what happened to the real estate and the car prices. You know what I mean? That doesn't. I know there's something, but that doesn't exist.
Well, I mean, that was a very unique anomaly. That wasn't market driven. It was government driven, right? We live in the United States. That was the only thing you could do. You had no choice. But yes, there's been 8 major economic cycles in the United States, and the 7th one, which was the crash of 2008, that was also an anomaly, just in the sense that it was really fraud more than a market. Economic cycles are real, and here's the reason why, is because economic cycles are all about human interaction, human behavior. Humans are so fucking predictable. We're actually kind of pitiful animals, Like, if you think about like animals in the wild, right? The way you hunt, you're predictable. You hunt predictable game, right? Predictability is a downfall of man. But if you're an investor, it's fucking great, because you can start to predict human interaction, human flow. The stock market is about human emotion. It's not about how good these particular markets are. It's about people, how they invest, what happens in the stock market. But in the last 7, the last 8 economic cycles dating back from the 1900s, here's what always happens. From 1878, here's what always happens. Market's doing fucking awesome. Capitalism's kicking. Woo, all's good. And then boom, there's a big correction, right? And then after that correction, usually within a year, things get back to where they need to go, or they go higher, right? In that dip, right? And this has happened across the seven of the eight economic cycles, excluding, because COVID was a fantastic thing, actually, if you think about it. I mean, it sucked that the government put a bunch of money into the economy and caused inflation. That's why we're having it, those motherfuckers. But
and all the people that died and got vaccinated that didn't want to get vaccinated, and all the kids in schools and all this other shit was bad.
Yes, yes, it was. But
for business.
Well, okay, so COVID, in my mind, was there's a lot of negative. Anytime anyone's sick or going to the hospital or whatever, but it was on the bigger side of that was, to me, was a big, our government pushing bullshit on us. That's what that was to me. I thought COVID was, and even to this day, like how many people died. The whole thing with the government being involved in it was just terrible. That they handled it poorly, lost trust in them. But from an economic perspective, huge migrations into different markets. I mean, we grew exponentially between 2020 and today, right? Real estate, stock market, everything. We're just talking about Turo and all this shit, right? Who has money to go do this? That's because the economy has been like on fire. So COVID had really helped from an economic perspective, helped our economy. But whenever you have these cycles, there's always a correction. And if it's a natural cycle and a natural correction, meaning it's based off human behavior and what the stupid shit that we do, then people take advantage of that down cycle and they want to buy as things continue to go up, no matter what sort of asset that you're buying. But economic cycles are real. COVID, I think, was an anomaly, as was 2008. But I'll tell you, dude, if you just look around and see like who's making money, there's a lot of people making money, whether it's a good economic cycle or a bad economic cycle, and but their IQ is up. And okay, so tell me, did you know that there's been some pretty major 8 economic cycles since 1878?
No.
Yeah. And so people who understand, like they go and they look at these things, right? What's happening in LA today? What happened 20 years ago?
But is that including the World Wars, and is that part of the 7?
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. Well, I mean, we had an amazing, prior to World War II, our economy was okay, it was doing good. Then the war hit, and then our economy went through the fucking roof, partially because of government spending. Right, we're spending a shitload of money on building military and doing shit like that, right? And investments into companies who were doing that, right? Who were building those things. Lots of manufacturing. That was the manufacturing age. We're pumping out steel like it was going out of style, going through coal.
Yeah, you see I guess that's pretty controlled, because obviously that's why they were fueled to go to war, because it was bringing money into the economy.
Yeah, so it was part of the reason, right? I mean, but also World War II was a huge. I mean, Europe was in the shits. Hitler, Nazi Germany was pushing and taking over, sovereign countries, right? It was a terrible time. And without the United States getting into that war, we would have been who knows what would happen there. England was fucking, I mean, look, the English, the English were fucked, the French were fucked, the Italians were fucked, right? And the United States came and did some great work there. But, our country has gone through these similar cycles like that, that weren't drawn from World War II. Did our country, it really spurred our economy for many years, and we helped rebuild Europe, right? That gave us a lot of money. That helped our economy significantly. So I'm sorry, you going to say something?
No, Prohibition as well.
Yep.
That was another big one.
Prohibition, that's right. But
Vietnam.
Yeah, Vietnam was huge, actually. Vietnam, I mean, even right now, the war in Ukraine is impacting us less than it is in Europe. Wars are terrible, right? But whenever there's a market shift that's based off of the market that it's in, right? But like steel, right? Right now, steel's going through the roof. And it's because we're sending, we're building weapons of war, right? Big tanks and shit. We're doing all kinds of crazy shit right now, actually. So
yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. There's a report coming out. I don't remember the names, but there's a lot of people in government that are passing laws to help Ukraine, but they all have stuff, holding stocks that's providing.
That's right. There's always that conflict of interest. It's bullshit. I hate that, actually.
Yeah. Oh, it's fucked up.
It's fucked up. It's interesting. Like, I think about when Donald Trump got elected, and there was a lot of pressure on him to step down from the Trump organization, and he did. Put his family into place, and he moved on, and they had to make sure there was separation. Right? I would love to see that in government all the way around the board. You're not involved in that shit during your, because you know what? It'll keep them from staying in office for so damn long and becoming these fucking lifelong political, people.
Influencers.
Yes, right. If it, like looking at Nancy Pelosi, that bitch has been around for 60 years in politics, right? 60 years.
I mean, have you seen her husband's track record on the?
He's crushing it.
Wall Street.
That's right. That's what I'm telling you.
He's doing better than Buffett and Soros.
Yeah. Why do you think? Why do you think, man? Exactly.
How is
he's
he
killing
doing
it?
better?
That guy. He's outperforming. Exactly. He's outperforming
Warren?
the top performers,
Yeah,
right? It's like,
Yeah.
come on. And then who's that one? That one black girl in Inglewood. Gosh, she's in my mind. I'm not a fan of her, but her husband, right? She was on the committee that our U.S. Postal Service is in huge trouble, right? It's been losing money for a long time and billions of dollars in debt, right? So recently they just they own a lot of real estate, and so recently all their locations, a lot of post office locations are closing. I already noticed this. And the real estate is being sold. This real estate is in prime markets around the United States. Like, think about where your local, I at least live in Hollywood here. My local post office, which is right between Hollywood and Highland, or right at Hollywood and Highland, that's prime real estate. Now there's fucking multi-million dollar condos going up there. So it's prime real estate. Her husband, he was a real estate broker, right? Got the contract to sell all those.
No.
I swear to you on my life, dude. What the fuck? Right? It's like, dude, you're killing me. And it doesn't, because here it is, dude. The power, politics breeds power, which breeds corruption. Always. That's why you want limited government. It's always going to be, there's never been a powerful central government that hasn't been corrupt. So one of the things I really admire about some of the California municipalities is that you have term limits, right? I'd love to see term limits on state senators and even state legislature, right? Just because if you're in there too long, you're going to become corrupt.
Yeah,
it's hard to turn down. Hey, baby, you're in bed and your wife's like, hey, gosh, I just went to this big meeting and I guess we're going to give this contract to so-and-so and so-and-so, or we're going to do this and that. And he's just like, shit, that's some fucking great information. Let me call these fools and buy some stock, right? So you got to be a saint not to, get onto that shit. This is what I'm saying about human nature.
Yeah.
Human nature is, and so you're talking about predictability and stuff like that. Yes, because people are predictable. They're always going to do these certain tasks and they're going to deal with things a certain way. And that's why the stock market can be somewhat, you look at these, if you look at the stock market, it keeps growing and growing and because new companies come in, blah, 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 blah. And it's the same with the real market. There's nowhere, we're getting more people. We need to house them. Housing is going to come, right? So the real estate's going to continue to grow. But how people buy and sell and what they do and decisions by your government, right? Your local government is so important. Like we don't invest in California. We don't buy assets in California because we have a rent control here. It's pro renter as opposed to pro owner. And, property rights aren't as important here. We just bought a place in Orlando, Florida, right? It's 133 units. And they're not dealing with that. You sit squat in my apartment and you fuck around and you're not paying your rent and doing some other shit, you're out, right? I can take you out 30 days. Here, it's like 6 months, 8 months. Now there's still a moratorium in California to evict people because of COVID. And, I know the intent was there to try to protect people, but it doesn't do that. It actually just causes more challenge and corruption and problems. So, I believe in, I guess what I was going with that is like, we have to be conscious of our history to understand where we're at today, whether it's you're worrying about economy or whether it's worrying about government or worrying about political environments. But, where you spend your time and your energy, your thoughts, who you spend time with and what you're focused on is really important. And being focused is a really challenging thing to do in this era.
Yeah.
So I try to talk about that. I'm not super articulate at saying that, but I just know that once we were able to really define where we wanted to go, and we did that by getting knowledgeable and getting financially literate, right? Understanding money, understanding. One of the easiest way to do that, man, is just look around and say, who's doing well, right? And what does well mean? Well means they're financially independent, or they're financially free, or they're very successful in their business and they're making a lot of money. If you try to, I'm really big on finding role models and people you want to emulate, and
Mentors.
Yeah. Mentors are there to like really have day-to-day or weekly or continuous contact. But even role models who you don't know, right? What are the characteristics of the people who are doing great? And that's why I mentioned that thing about, millionaires, right? They come from this more of them come from low-income families than not. There's another great statistic that said that most Americans have a negative net worth. Like 93% have no to negative net worth, right? Your net worth is negative. And for me, that's where it started. I got this tool called Mint, and I was, making great money, $300,000 in sales, killing it. And I was like, I got Mint, and I'm like, holy shit, where's my money going? Like, I make all this money, where's it going? It was going to the wrong things. Right? I'm like, where? I'm wasting my dough. Turns out, same study from the Fed says that not only do 93% of Americans have no to negative income, right? Because they're taking their money and they're spending it as opposed to investing it. That's number one. And that comes with just lack of knowledge, not understanding how to truly build wealth. And once you start understanding that, right, and you start thinking about what do I need to do to align myself with the people who are doing that and to learn from, you start getting the tools, life changes, right? And you start all just starts coming to you. So that's why I try to talk about it a lot. And, I'm not the best at articulating my thoughts around this, but I am convinced that people there are people who have already put a roadmap together for wealth creation. And I think in this time where things are getting more expensive, like we were talking about, and you want to craft the life that you want to live, which for me is financial freedom, time freedom, and now the ability to like tell people and tell my story and let them hear, what I've been able to do, which is crazy. I went from having a job to being, a millionaire and having a lot of money and being able to do things that I do, right? We travel all over the fucking place, my lady and I. We work our asses off, but we travel.
Where's she from?
Lisa. So we're both from Sacramento.
Hi, Lisa.
Yes.
Both from Sacramento?
Both from Sacramento.
Nationality?
She's white.
White.
She said, I'm a bit Cherokee too. I have a little Cherokee in me. I'm like, you got no Cherokee.
Get out of here.
You got no Cherokee. You blue eyes. You super light. You got some Irish in you. No, she's a white girl, man. I like all kind of girls. What I like about her, though, is that she's extremely beautiful. Blue eyes, curvy, super sexy. But she also has a great mindset. We have the same value system. We grew up in the same kind of neighborhood. And our families know each other and stuff like that. So it's really cool. But she's also just a really great woman, man. Woman of faith, I have to say. Love that.
That's awesome.
So, and she's super positive, and, we got a chance to meet the Dalai Lama together. That was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's fucking great.
The Dalai Lama, dude, he was just like, if you get a chance, there's a great book I always recommend to you. It's called, to everybody, it's called The Art of Happiness. And this guy from University of Arizona follows the Dalai Lama around for 2 years. And he's just like, hey, what's the art of, tell me about happiness and how to achieve it. And he gives him all his thoughts. 2 years. And the gist of it, the high level is that we have the ability to control our emotions. We want to be happy, we can be happy. Just like that. It's actually instantaneous, right? Our brain is powerful. We can control our thought. And that's a great book to challenge limited belief systems, right? And that's kind of what I'm talking about is there's limited belief systems. There's lack of knowledge, limited belief systems, and mindset. So, Dalai Lama. But Lisa is fucking badass. She's a cool chick. Everyone loves her. She's the face of our company, right? She's a 20-year real estate broker. She does luxury real estate for Coldwell Banker. Woo-woo. Orange County.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Lisa.
That's right, Lisa. And you just got married.
Yeah, and I just got married, right?
Congratulations,
so
man.
super stoked. Now it's time to start a family.
Damn
Super
right.
stoked on that.
It's never too late.
It's never too. No, it's perfect, man. It's about, number one, find the right woman. Found her.
Yeah.
So I hadn't seen her in 20 years. We ran into each other. And was like, she's like, oh, I'm moving to LA. I'm like, oh yeah, I live in LA. She's like, oh, you have any kids? I'm like, no, you got any kids? Like, no, I got no kids.
I've got an idea.
I think we can kick it then.
Yeah. Isn't it weird how that works out?
Yeah, man, it is, dude. But I tell you, dude, I was on the dating scene hard in Hollywood. I was out here living in Hollywood having a good time. 2010 to 2016, living the life. It was great. I had a nice car, dope condo. Like that's what I was telling you, I was making money. And then I discovered, and everything was good. And I was having a great time. And then, just my awareness changed. I said, like, where's going on my money? And I got more financially literate. And I really just started making some key decisions in my life. It was like, hey, I want to be in this place. And I started looking around and saying, who's doing what I want to do? And I followed and emulated them. So I don't know. Do you like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah? Yeah, he's killer actor. Huh?
Killer actor, fucking hilarious, funny. His personality, great bodybuilder, his accomplishments. I was watching one. Did you watch the interview of why he started working out?
Oh, yeah. Well, I've seen I've seen so many, but which one are you talking about?
Yeah, there was one. I think it was I can't remember. I think Carson, it was interviewing him. And he goes, what got you into bodybuilding? He goes, well, I was 17, 18 years old, and I saw myself in the mirror, and there was one part of my body that was much bigger than the rest of my body, so I figured out I have to work out my body to match the one part of my body.
Yeah.
Just fucking,
He's hilarious, dude.
He's hilarious, dude.
Yeah, you got his accent down too good.
And the confidence that the guy has, he has a fucking confidence and a go-getter personality,
Yeah.
Like here's the thing that I've noticed. The thing that I noticed about growing up in the United States and going to schools in the United States is there's a whole system trying to program you and say, hey, become an employee, and be a good worker, and show up on time, and be a nice guy, and don't say no, and be polite, and be scared of the police, and follow instructions, and be a hard worker. Like there's just a fucking program that's in there.
Yeah.
And depending on what neighborhood you live in, that programming gets even deeper, because now it's programming into your parents programming into you, the teachers are programming into you, the principals programming into you. Now you're creating this whole thing. That's real. That's
totally
fucking real.
It's so real,
man.
And
it's like in the last 6 years, I'm like, oh, fuck this, dude. This has been a fucking trap, man.
Yeah.
This is the Matrix.
The Matrix, dude.
This is the fucking Matrix.
It's the Matrix, man. Especially with, public education is one of those things, right? And it's funny. I read something the other day about how public education was really, Henry Ford was one of the people who were very pro having a national school system, right? Think about our national school system, right? They're pushing content. They're setting standards for food. How, do you take tests, blah, 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 blah. And he was he was actually the guy who pushed it through. And, he said, I don't want to create a nation of, entrepreneurs. I want to create a nation of fucking workers.
Yeah.
People who come into the factories and work, right? And laborers. Right. Yeah. And if you think about
checking from the head down.
Exactly, man. You know that movie with Tom Cruise? What the name of it is?
Minority Report?
No, Old School. So he's a high school player in a steel mill town, Pennsylvania, whatever. And he's like, it's early Tom Cruise. It's a great movie, all the right moves. And he's a star quarterback, whatever. Anyways, he's programmed, and everyone's like, oh, you got to go to school, then you got to go work in the mill, then you got to go to college, and you got to do this. And he's like, you know what? I don't want to do any of that shit. He's like, I don't want to fucking do that. I don't want to go work in the mill. And yeah, maybe I want to go play football. He was great football. Maybe I play football in college. But college, high school, college, right? All these things. And they're great institutions. I mean, they have their place. But the fact that we have this centralized school system where people can just program people from the top down is scary to me, right? And Lisa and I, we want to have when we have kids, we don't want to be in the public school system and be like, what the fuck? Our tax dollars are still going to pay for it, but yeah, we're getting programmed, man. No one wants to be programmed. We're losing individuality.
No, it really limits people to their full capabilities.
Totally,
it really does, and
keeps them from
it. And it puts a fear. Yeah. It puts a fear in people. And I grew up with that, and just recently, I'm like, dude, like fuck this, like no, enough.
That's right.
Enough, man. This is bullshit.
Enough.
And ever since, when you break out of that, it's like, you're like, whoa, there's like a bunch of people on the other side. Like, oh yeah, come on in, man.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Welcome to the other side, man.
Bro. Isn't this
You made it outside the Matrix.
Yeah. That is fucking, you want to go to the beach, man? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Fred motorcycles, man.
Yeah,
That's fucking
exactly,
crazy.
Dude, exactly.
But people fall into the trap, number one. Then the other problem comes back to the educational system where it's you start falling into debt, and you don't fall into debt accidentally. That's programmed too. They make everything look nice.
Totally.
Finance your iPhone, finance the newer iPhone, finance the case, finance the new case, and then lease a car.
Yeah.
Like how many people are driving cars they can't afford?
Yeah,
but they're paying $800, $1,000 a month.
Totally.
I think the average car payment, especially in LA, it's got to be like $750.
It's got to be $800, Ed. Totally.
At
because you
least
can't
in
buy
LA.
shit. And then you got insurance and you got all the other crap on there.
Service,
So
and then the
expensive.
fucking ticket. Everybody gets a ticket on Sunset. Everybody gets a ticket on Ventura.
Totally.
At least once a month.
Yeah.
Then you have that cost.
A minimum of $150 to $200 a month just in citations.
I had a buddy of mine. He had 4 exotic cars. He had like a McLaren, a Ferrari, 2 Ferraris, and a Porsche. And he got rid of everything.
Yeah.
He straight out Uber everywhere. And it was it was too many parking tickets one time.
Yeah.
There was just one month where he had like fucking 6 parking tickets and he had to do a service. He's like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. Imagine what it must be like if you're a waiter or a busboy, someone who makes $40,000 a year, $50,000 a year here.
Oh, and you get that ticket?
You get that ticket, it's devastating, right?
It's
and the
fucking-
parking ticket for $65. It's like, fuck.
Dude, yeah. Well, it's back to those fucking jobs of the people that fall into the system and fall into that, 8 to 9, or I'm sorry, 8 to 5 job.
Mm-hmm.
The highlight of their day is taking a shit in the bathroom and checking their social media. Like, that is the highlight of their fucking day.
That's right, man.
How fucking
That would
fucked
suck.
up is that?
That would suck, man.
And then people do this for fucking, 20 years, 30 years?
Oh, I can't even imagine. Sometimes. What?
And then people are like, I can't quit.
Yeah.
I can't. I just bought a fucking
Slave.
house. I just had
They're
a fucking
slave.
kid. I'm stuck,
Yeah.
And they're making this 45, 50,000. I've said this plenty of times on the podcast, but there was a report of the biggest regrets people had. People that are dying, on the dying bed. They're like their last week on the earth. They did a questionnaire and they were like, what's the, what do you regret? And the number one thing was not telling the people you love that you love them enough. And that was number one, number two, and then the other number one, number two was not quitting their job on time.
Yeah. Totally, dude.
And this is people saying this on the fucking deathbed.
Yeah. On the deathbed. I wish I
like,
would have fucking stopped.
I wish I would have stopped.
Yeah.
I wish I would have spent more time with my family. I wish I would have enjoyed.
True.
Because think about it. You go into the university, you go to graduate, you fucking, do that till, 28, whatever, 29 years old. Then you have a fucking $200,000-$300,000 debt, especially today. Then the next.
And then you get taxed to death.
Then you get taxed to death. And then you're just stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Think about that, man. In California, if you live here and you're a high income earner, right, you're going to be taxed 13%. The next closest state, I think, is 6%. So this happened in 2013 when they jumped it up from 6 here to 13, and combine that with your state income, your federal income tax, you're 30%. So if you're someone who earns over $150,000 a year, you're going to be taxed almost 50% of your income as a W-2 employee, right? You go work for somebody, you become a doctor. A lot of we run a syndication, which means that we park other people's money with our money, and we go and buy apartments. So we have these investors who we work with, and they're mostly doctors, IT folks, high net worth individuals, and they have a status called accredited, which means that they either earn $200,000 a year or have $1 million in assets, not including their primary residence. And most of these people are very busy, high earners, but they're getting taxed to death, right?
Right.
They're making money. 50% of I made $500,000 a year. $250,000 just went to the government. $250,000 of my money. Bye. You know what I'm saying? So these are people like, we need to figure out ways of, one, generating more income, and that we can keep more of that income pre-tax, right? So, and they can, what I mean by that is generating passive income that allows them. So passive income means, for those people who don't know, is unearned income. It's from an investment, right? So you don't have to get up and go to your work, and it's not a W-2 income. It's untaxed revenue coming in to you as an individual. And to get that, you need to invest in something, right? And then at the end of the year, you get taxed. So what's smart really wealthy people do. Smart people, wealthy people, they're not necessarily smart.
Wise people.
Wise people, right? They understand that. And that's what a lot of these doctors who I work with, why they invest with us is because they're like, listen, I'm going to get this money and I can either go buy another house or a motorcycle, or I can invest it with you, Yoannes, and I can get, some passive income every single quarter or every single month. At the end of the year, then I deal with taxes. And with that extra money, I can do a lot of different things. And they also understand that real estate's a great, there's depreciation, there's all these great things that you can do. But what's interesting is what you're just talking about is, getting people getting stuck, like trained to go and become a worker and get this job. And all the people who have these great paying jobs, all the doctors that I work with are like, shit, I wish we would have started doing this 10 years ago, right? Because we'd already be done.
Right.
And this one guy who went and did his own firm, he's like, he's a Indian dude. He's like, my parents brought me here to go to school. I went to school, became a doctor. Cost us a whole shitload of money. We did it. I started making tons of money. And then I found someone to invest with. And now I'm like, why did I become a doctor? It was such a waste of my life. Now, don't get me wrong. I think there's a lot of great things that come out of being a doctor, helping people's,
ethically, there's a lot of good stuff, but
Yes.
there's a lot of temptation, a lot of fucked up shit going on there too.
Yes, exactly. And
You got to see death, and you got to
the hours, dude. These guys work.
Yeah,
They grind. Being a doctor is a grind, bro. It is not fun. You work your ass off, right? You're in there. It's pressure, liability. I mean, these guys are this doing dollars for hours thing, trading your time for money sucks. And have you ever read that Dad, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, another book that was really powerful?
Yeah, Robert Kawasaki.
Yeah, Kawasaki, right? It's like, hey, you can't live like that. That's what you're talking about. I gotta be at this place, right?
The rat race.
So Lisa and I, it's funny when I was making really good money, for the last 10 years. I've been making really good money, and I really was like, I bought a house. I was living in it. It's great, but you know what, man? Every day I had to go to work to pay for that place, right? I couldn't quit my job, right? I needed to show up and support somebody else to get them to give me money so I could live in this place, right? And I had to always make sure that was being fed, right? And that's what happens. So that you get your W-2 paycheck and government takes 50% of it, right? You're fucked. But it's a hamster wheel. So right now, a lot of the people who we work with, they're like, let's get the fuck let's sell our house. Let's go rent somewhere. Awesome. I'm going to go rent a house. It's cheap. Yeah. I'm going to liquidate, put $150,000 in my pocket. And I'm going to go put that money and go make it work for me, right? I'm not going to work for my money. I'm going to put it to work. And multifamily apartments has historically been the number one asset class of investments, better than stocks, better than crypto. Historically, it just always does awesome. Why? People need a place to live. People are always going to prioritize where they live over everything else. Their car, it's food and shelter, right? Food, water, shelter. Shelter is a priority. It's an essential. And it's a tangible asset, right? It's not like stock and crypto where you're just buying paper. It's a trade of something that's not actually there. Insurance, real estate is a tangible asset. It's insurable, right? If it fucking burns down, someone's going to give you money for it. So I don't know where I was going with that thought, but just being, having an understanding of that. So, what I was saying is that we didn't buy houses. We started buying. We
sold your house.
We sold our house. We
started focusing on
renting.
ADUs.
Yes, actually, we bought houses first that we rented. Right in Arizona, we bought 6 houses, and very quickly we started getting this great cash flow. We're like, oh shit! Each house was giving us $1,000 a month. We had 5 houses. We're like, oh, this is great. And they doubled in value every year, essentially, which is crazy. We started investing in Phoenix 2017 when it was just before the come up. Then COVID, everyone moved their asses over there, right? It was like, oh shit, rent just fucking exploded. So, and then we sold that and we bought our first apartment building. But my point is that even my investors are doing the same thing because they realize that they have to continue to get up and work every day for that, to pay for that house. Where if they invested it into an asset like real estate, it could give them cash flow. It has equity. It's a very safe asset. Even single family, great asset, right? It's insurable. it always bounces back. You talking about these market correction real estate, right? Even 2008, it was like, fuck, for a year and a half. We were fucked, 2 years. And then it came back, right? It came back in about 3 years, new construction in 4 years, but already people were back in the marketplace in year two. Because people need housing. They need to live there. You have a place to live. So we really like it. And I talk about it all the time. I'm addicted to real estate. I'm addicted to real estate. Real estate replaced cocaine.
No.
It was cocaine, and then I found real estate.
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious. So you have your real estate license, or you just do investor?
No,
You're just an investor.
We're an investor, yeah. So there's two types of people, right? Where you there's passive investors and there's active investors. We're active investors. That's all that we do. We don't get paychecks from a job,
Remax or something.
That's right. Yeah, we're not brokers.
Nothing
we're
wrong
not
with
agents.
Remax, but I'm not saying.
That's right.
Just whatever.
We're professional real estate investors. That's what we do, right? So we develop a network of. So when we understand real estate markets, real estate cycles, we're investing in certain places based off certain criteria. The primary ones being job growth and population growth, right? That's why Florida has been so fantastic for the past 2 years. Houston, another really great market. We just started investing in Northwest Arkansas. We're in contract to buy a place there. But we do that full time. That's all that we do. That's our 100%. So we're active investors. Also, we're part of what we call the management team. We make all the decision in our investment. We hire all the property managers. We know the contractors, all that stuff. Then there's passive investors, right? Which is just normal everyday Joes. And they're getting passive income. They have no, input on the property, right? They're investing in us as operators. Can we do the job? Do we know what we're talking about? That sort of thing. And so that we're out there doing, looking for deals, acquiring property. We do what we call a value add strategy, which is we deploy capital to improve a property. So we're looking for deals that are underperforming, right? So great pieces of property in great locations that are underperforming. Maybe maintenance hasn't been kept up. They're operating it inefficiently. One of the big things that we do often is sub-meter a project. A lot of these property owners, man, they're paying for the power for the whole building and shit, right? And like, no, man, sub-meter this. To take that off your expense, off your operating expense and put it on the tenant. Things like that, right? Or improving amenities that people want or willing to pay a premium for. So we do that. We reposition the assets, and then over time, they do a nice return, typically over a 3 to 5 year hold period. So in that time, our investors get cash flow. Say you put in $100,000, right? This is how we look at deals, right? Here's what's a typical multifamily deal. Okay, for an investor, right? When we're talking to our investors, we say, hey, we're looking for a 7 to 8% cash on cash return. What does that mean? That means that I'm getting a 7% return every single year on my cash investment. So if they give us $100,000, right, they'd make $7,000 a year in cash flow, right? But that's compounded every single year. So if you're with us for 5 years, you're getting 7%. 7 times 5 is 35% return on cash return from your investment with us. Oh, that's pretty good, right? I'll take that, 38%, 40%. Just awesome, like that. Well, it gets better. So after we improve the property and we increase the rents, we also increase the value. Multifamily is based, commercial properties is based on income. The values are based on income, not on comparables like single families or other things, right? Oh, what did that house sell for? That household, that's how they judge value. Commercial is about income. So it's a business, right? How much money does this property make profit? So when we increase the rents and we're making more money, right? And we call that a loss to lease. When we're increasing the rents by a significant amount, that raises the value. So then at the end of the hold period, usually year 3 or year 5, we disposition, we sell it, maybe we refinance, and we have tons of equity. We have tons of equity built up basically at this point. So to our investors, oftentimes we just sell and they'll make what we call an equity multiplier. And it's usually a 2.25. Right now is about a 2.25, which is 225% return. So if you invested $100,000 with me, you're going to make on the end of the deal $225,000 basically. Plus, you're going to have that 7% cash on cash return you're going to get every single fucking year. So
wow, that's huge.
It's huge, man. It's gigantic. It's really fantastic, man. And then on top of that, there's this huge thing called depreciation, which a lot of people don't know about. Depreciation is like, what's the life, full lifetime? Basically, it's saying this property has a useful life of X, right? So in commercial real estate, you can depreciate your asset 100% of it over a 27-year period. So if I bought an apartment today and I bought it for $27 million, every year I could take a write-off, a loss on my taxes for $1 million. So think about that. Okay, I just made a whole bunch of money in real estate. I just bought this property. We're getting cash flow, and I've got this extra cash. But now I have $1 million write-off every single year that I have from this property. $1 million bucks. Don't have to do shit. It's huge. So for us, it's fantastic. And so the people who are investing in us, right? They've got that knowledge, right? They're like, oh, this is how we're going to make. This is how people make dough. Jeff Bezos, he also who's Tesla guy? Musk, right? These guys are huge real estate owners. Billions of dollars in real estate.
But not Musk, not anymore. He sold everything.
Oh, did he? What really? No, because he said he was invested in a. No, also think about his assets that he owns for his business, right? So,
he bought 250,000 acres of land for fucking Tesla. Yeah. But he has no personal homes or house.
No. Yeah. But he has tons of commercial real estate. He owns tons, and that's what I'm talking about.
SpaceX,
yeah. But also personally, he's invested in a lot of apartment deals and things like that. His houses, like luxury items like that, that's not. I'm talking about true investment, commercial grade properties. And so that's how you make wealth is created. When we do refis, sometimes we do a refi. We'll the equity's grown. We'll pull a whole bunch of money out, and that's all tax free. I can pull all my equity out of my fucking investment property and say, let's just say they're like, hey, let's not sell this property. It's doing so great, right? Let's just take the equity out and continue to keep it, right? Yeah, reinvest it, or all my my house that we live in, we bought that in my toy hauler, and most of my big purchases are from doing cash out refis. From good debt. That's right, and secure debt, right? And debt that's paying me fucking return, right? So to your point, right? People just don't have this knowledge, and I try to talk about. I'm so busy doing my business and busy focused on finding new deals and investing. And we have a guy who just does capital raising, and Lisa's out there doing acquisitions. I'm doing a lot of the underwriting and putting together deals because that's what I do. And it's a tough thing, but I want to talk to people more about, hey, I'm seeing so many great people, like I told you before in the beginning. These great people, man, natural leaders, people you want to rally on. I'm like, look, you need to be in real estate. You need to not be fucking around or you need to find out a way to change your position, right? And figure out who's doing what you want to do around them and start working towards that because life is short, right? And anybody who, I'll tell you, I wish I started doing this 10 years ago. If I was smart, after 2001, right? Then the economy went on fire. Man, I was like buying so much shit, dude. I was buying so much crap, man. I had tons of bikes back then, right? And then weekends and partying and
cocaine.
Yeah, cocaine.
Cocaine.
I used to go to Colombia a lot, man. Colombia is my favorite place.
Yeah, my buddy's there right now.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, it's fucking awesome there, man. Great place to ride motorcycles, great places to party.
Yeah.
Great cocaine.
He won't leave it. Yeah.
Yeah. Down there, it's the pure shit, dude, right?
Pure.
It's like the real uncut bullshit.
I've had that conversation with people. I'm telling people, like, look, you by making drugs illegal, you're not preventing anybody from doing drugs. All you're doing is people now have
creating
to get
black
drugs.
Market.
A black market where people don't know what the fuck they're getting, and you're putting people at risk.
Totally.
Like when we were buying weed back in the days, right? Fuck, you had to call like 2-3 buddies, and then you had to meet somebody in some fucking alley.
Yeah.
Then you have no idea what the fuck he gave you.
That's right.
And then when you smoked it, it was popping because of seeds and shit and stems, and you're like, what the fuck was this bullshit? Like...
Yeah, then you had to make sure. That's why when you found the guy who had the chronic or who would get it off,
right, then
you were like, I'm sticking with
I'm sticking with him. But then he couldn't even keep it consistent.
His shit would change.
Man, and you know what? I have a dinner.
Okay, shit.
I have a dinner. Just before we close this up, who are your who should contact you? People that want to invest, or people that want to get refinanced, or people that want to buy a property? Who should contact you, and how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, the people who should contact me is, yeah, okay, so what am I looking for? What brings me value? Yes, investors, obviously, we're always trying to raise money. We're starting a fund, which is basically just investors are investing into a fund so we can go out and buy more properties quickly as opposed to raising money for each deal. We're creating a fund so we can just go out and buy multiple deals and move quickly. So we're always looking for investors, which is fantastic. But also people who want to change their life, man, and really think differently. And I don't have a program, not selling anything, right?
You
but
should.
just really, I
should.
think by giving people and by bringing value, right, it always comes back to you. And so I want to extend
Not always.
Not always, but but that's the strongest strategy to develop great relationships, and that's what a lot about wealth is about having great relationships, because the people around you are going to influence you in a positive way and share information. Dude, the group of people that I hang around with now, so we just got back from Mexico, and we were at this amazing fucking resort, right? My buddies, one of my investors,
Cancun?
Playa del Carmen.
Oh,
So
I
in
love
Cancun.
Playa del Carmen.
Yes,
man.
it was great. It was
That's
called
the shit. Yeah.
Unico. It was this amazing, all adults only, all inclusive. And I don't like all inclusive normally, but I've only done one. It wasn't great. This place was dope. And it was my one of my investors, one of my key investors, right? He's like, hey, just come and hang out and do this thing, right? Go get married there. Actually, what happened is they said they give us a free marriage, which was awesome. And if we stayed there for a week, and he's like, yeah, go stay there. It's our place. We have a membership, and it was inexpensive, and he just really hooked us up. And, maybe it was $10,000, $15,000 worth of hotel and meeting space that we got. And I hate to even say the word free. It's just that that's what we do for each other. When people get up to this higher level, it's about their network and the people that they're connected with, right? And they help each other, right? If I can help you and you can come into my place and get a free wedding and do all this, come do it. Absolutely.
Isn't it weird when you get to certain tiers?
Yes.
Like there's just certain formalities of oh, here, like, I got the tab, or that's a small one.
Yeah.
But like, here's this bottle, and there's this car, and here's this building. Like,
Yes.
it's
That's right. Because everybody has a different value that they can bring to the table, right? And you can all help each other in some way. And they're also thinking about, like, the reason why a lot of these guys we're great friends now is because I've shown them a way to change their life, right? Here's an opportunity to change your life. Where can you go and double your money in 3 years and have positive cash flow? There's almost nowhere, right? It's reserved for the super wealthy, and it's reserved for big normally people who invest in the big apartment deals that we do are like insurance companies and shit, right? Big players. So the ability for a normal guy to go, oh, I'm going to invest I'm going to go buy an apartment building, right? Hey, do you want to buy an apartment building with me? It's like, oh, fuck yeah, I'd like to buy an apartment. And I've given him that. But also the mindset piece of it. So the best way to get a hold of me is you can reach me. It's funny. I should have thought about this before I came here.
email address?
Email address, Yoannes at mfipartners.com, right? I can't even remember my Instagram and Twitter stuff, but Yoannes at mfipartners.com, or to go to our website, www.mfipartners.com, multifamily investment partners.com. You can reach out to me, schedule some time on my calendar. If you just want to talk about mindset, getting focused, handling business, that's what I like to talk about. And I also like to talk about real estate. So love to connect with you.
And motorcycles.
And motorcycles, yes. Anything has to do with motorcycles, actually.
So
that might be good.
Yeah. And then you don't mind if anybody sees you in the track just to approach you. What's up, man?
No,
Real
absolutely.
estate, motorcycles, done.
Yeah, done. Exactly, man. It's a brotherhood. Real estate's a brotherhood. Bikes are a brotherhood. Everything's a brotherhood. So it's all about the people you connect with. So love to reach out and connect with people.
Well, man, I'm happy we made this happen. I know last time I had a little emergency, and this time I did have everything scheduled. But
I was late. You hooked it up. I apologize for that.
We and this won't be the last time. We'll do this again. Maybe on the track.
Ooh, I like that.
Track.
I like that,
That'd be
man.
cool.
Yeah, take the toy hauler.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Love you, brother, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you.